Do you ever feel like you've left a part of yourself in the past? I used to feel that way a lot, but I found that going back to the media that shaped me can help with that. More specifically for me, going back to dragons. Welcome to Lou's Field Journal Ep.1. Once there were dragons. So, long ago, okay, a medium long time ago, like 2010, DreamWorks Animation brought the world's cutest dragon to life in the timeless tale of how to train your dragon. It gave us the ultimate teen dragon bromance, and at some point every year, I find myself coming back to it in times when I feel like I miss the person I used to be the first time I watched it. The time when the world was younger and simpler, probably because it was simpler and I was a lot shorter than I still am anyway. Back then, stories seemed just more alive and more present. Your younger years are your most formative, especially whatever you got obsessed with at 10 to 14. That never really goes away. But one type of story in particular that really stuck with me was the type that How to Train Your Dragon embodied, an earnest hero's journey. Earnest, resulting from or showing sincere and intense conviction. That's what I get reminded of when I watch the movie, showing Hiccup learning to stay true to who he is and actually wants to be, instead of what others want him to be, even when the world is trying to get him to change. Talk enough about how brave Hiccup is. Like, not just how kind he is, but how brave he is, because nobody believed in that kid, guys. Not a single person. And he went against everything that he'd ever been taught in his entire life. Think your typical awkward outcast, underestimated protagonist find strength in discovering that the best thing they can be is themselves. That be yourself message is relayed proudly in the movie, without a hint of irony or sarcasm. It reminds me of having the courage to be sincere and showing conviction, of putting who we are first instead of who anyone else thinks we are. My childhood self, and maybe your childhood self too, had a bit more of this certainty. In that world, it seems so much easier to be like the people that we watched on screen, to bring that earnestness into real life. But that doesn't mean that we can't build this earnestness back today. I think that as we grow and reality's practicalities sinks its nasty little claws into us, there's this growing understanding that such earnestness can be, oh, it's nice, but it's kind of cheesy, it's not realistic. Don't get me wrong, I went through that phase too. The whole, I'm getting too practical for this, it doesn't feel right or realistic because, come on, the world doesn't work that way, people will think I'm a sap, I need to control how much I care about things, the world is hard, and this is too naive, etc. This doesn't mean that everyone should go about their life spouting live, laugh, love, and shooting technicolor rainbows out of your orifices. And everybody processes and expresses emotions differently. But I feel that the judgment for being perceived has overshadowed the courage of sincerity, and it's gotten that label of sensitive or cheesy. But revisiting these stories that inspire you can remind you that the kind of person you want to be is in your hands and not anyone else's. I don't think that's being naive. I think there's a certain resilience in it. I mean, Hiccup was constantly surrounded by people telling him that he was weird, he was built wrongly, that practical reasons and cultural reasons meant he had to kill dragons. He had to be this way. Because that's who they were as Vikings. And that's who they had to be. Dragons were attacking the village, so you have to get rid of them. But he didn't want to be that kind of person. He wanted to understand the dragons, to look at the world as a place of wonder to learn, instead of only a place of problems to solve. And that's what I get reminded of when I watch it. Revisiting these stories and re-allowing yourself to be inspired by them again. As people who have grown from the first time that we've watched them, it breathes wonder into our daily lives. I mean, even for this painting, look at it. I mean, I think it looked pretty shitty when I started out. Toothless looks like a little cross-eyed baguette. I tried to remember while I was painting that this is a pretty wondrous thing. It was a blank page, and now there's a dragon on it. Even though the blue-black dragon looks like a cross-eyed baguette, there's something on the page that wasn't there before, and that's kind of amazing. It makes me look beyond the surface of reality and can remind us of the great depth of incredible history and knowledge that we're surrounded by. I mean, the Vikings did have an incredible reach of trade. Who knows, maybe they did travel on dragonback. Although my archaeology lecturers would actually kill me if they heard me saying that. But the point is, it's not whether it's true or not. It's about the resilience to keep being curious. That possibility of there having been more to a place, or an animal, or a story, or just to reality in general than what meets the eye. I think part of growing up is rediscovering what you love. Except now you understand why you love it a bit better. It can help us regain that spark, that childlike sense of wonder and curiosity and resilience to be earnest. Not childishness, but childlikeness. It can help us move beyond frozen nostalgia, beyond longing for a past reality that we can't bring back. That child we once were isn't lost to us, because they've never really left us. It's a way for the past to still be present in our lives, but instead of holding us back with longing, we can use it as a guide. Yeah, okay, I'm ranting. I might have gone a bit too into it, but I cannot express my love for this series enough. Hence, my little entry. So, thus ends my rant, guys. In conclusion, maybe you still feel like part of you is stuck in the past, that you're not whole, but you've always been whole. It's just a matter of remembering you are. Maybe dragons never existed at all. If they did, the chances of us befriending them are doubtful. And yes, it's a children's movie, and things that happen in the movies, it's not the way real life works. But there's no expiration date to what you can learn from a story, and how far you can bring that with you. So every now and then, just try to remember, once there were dragons.